According to a groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Psychology and Behavioral Sciences, 78% of men who experience significant life challenges reported becoming emotionally distant within 2 years. But here's what's even more shocking. Only 12% of these men actively sought help or support to overcome their emotional walls. These aren't just numbers, folks. These are real men, walking around every day carrying invisible burdens that are freezing their hearts, destroying their relationships, and stealing their joy. Life has a way of teaching us lessons we never signed up for. You see it everywhere. In the eyes of that successful businessman who can't connect with his kids anymore. In the silence of that young professional who stopped calling his friends. In the forced smile of that neighbor who used to be the life of every barbecue. They're all victims of life's harsh teachings. But today we're going to talk about why this happens, and more importantly, how to break free from this emotional prison. You know what's fascinating? Society tells us to be tough, to handle everything on our own, to man up. And we do exactly that. We build these walls, brick by brick, thinking we're protecting ourselves. But let me tell you something. Those same walls that keep the pain out are also keeping the joy locked away. Every time life hits you with a setback, every time someone betrays your trust, every time your dreams crumble, you add another layer to that wall. The problem isn't that life makes us cold. It's that we've been taught the wrong way to handle life's challenges. Think about it. When you get a physical injury, you treat it, right? You go to a doctor, you get therapy, you take care of it. But when life wounds your spirit, what do? You hide it. You bury it deep down, thinking it makes you stronger. But strength isn't about being cold. It's about staying warm despite the freezing winds of life. Today, we're going to dig deep into understanding this transformation. We'll explore why life's challenges can turn even the most passionate man into someone who struggles to feel, to connect, to live fully. But more importantly, we're going to talk about the way out, because there is a way out, and I'm here to show you that path. Each setback in life can feel like a direct hit to your soul. It starts small, maybe a betrayal from someone you trusted, a business deal gone wrong, or a dream that slipped through your fingers. At first, you think you're just being cautious, just protecting yourself from getting hurt again. But before you know it, that caution turns into a fortress, and that fortress becomes your prison. It's like putting on a bulletproof vest that ends up weighing you down so much you can't even move. Let me break it down for you. This emotional coldness isn't something that happens overnight. It's a gradual process, like water freezing. First, there's that slight chill when life throws its first real punch. Maybe it was that promotion you were promised but never got, or that relationship you poured your heart into only to watch it crumble. You start questioning everything, doubting everyone. That's when the temperature starts dropping in your emotional world. The real danger comes when you start believing that this coldness is your strength. Society celebrates the man who nothing bothers, right? We've all heard those phrases, tough as nails, cold as ice, and hard as steel. But here's what nobody tells you. Being unbothered isn't the same as being strong. Real strength isn't about not feeling. It's about feeling everything and still choosing to stay open, to stay human, to stay connected. Think about the men you admire most in your life. Are they really the ones who show no emotion, who never let anyone in? Or are they the ones who can laugh from their belly, cry at their child's graduation, celebrate their friends' successes with genuine joy? The truth is, the most respected men aren't the cold ones. They're the ones who've maintained their warmth despite life's storms. This journey of becoming cold isn't just about you. It affects everyone around you. Your kids start wondering why daddy never smiles anymore. Your partner feels like they're living with a stranger. Your friends stop calling because every conversation feels like they're talking to a wall. And the worst part? You convince yourself that this is just who you are now, that there's no going back to the man you used to be. You see, the problem with emotional coldness is that it starts affecting areas of your life you never thought it would. It's like throwing a stone in a pond. The ripples keep spreading. At work, you might be getting things done, but your team starts avoiding you. They do what you say, but they don't bring you their ideas anymore. That promotion you wanted? It goes to someone who works better with people. That's when you realize that being cold isn't just an emotional state. It's a career liability. In your relationships, it's even worse. You might be providing everything material, the house, the car, the vacations, but something's missing. Your partner looks at you with eyes that used to sparkle, but now just look tired. Your kids give you those one-word answers you hate, but isn't that exactly what you've been doing to them? The cold man thinks he's protecting his family by being strong, but he's actually teaching his children that love means distance, that success means isolation. The most dangerous part of this transformation is how it changes your view of the world. Everything becomes a transaction. Every relationship becomes a cost-benefit analysis. You start seeing kindness as weakness, vulnerability as a flaw. The world loses its color, becomes black and white, numbers and facts. You might be winning on paper, but inside, you're losing the very thing that makes life worth living. The ability to feel deeply, to connect authentically, to experience joy. Let me tell you something about joy. It can't exist in a frozen heart. It's like trying to grow flowers in frozen soil. You might have all the seeds, all the tools, the perfect conditions, but nothing will grow in frozen ground. That's what happens when you let life make you cold. You might have everything you thought you wanted, but you can't enjoy any of it because you've lost the ability to feel warmth. But here's the thing, and this is crucial. Your heart isn't actually frozen solid. It's just covered in ice. Underneath all those layers of protection, underneath all that frost of disappointment and hurt, your warm heart is still beating, waiting to thaw. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. How to break through that ice, how to feel again, how to come back to life. The journey back to warmth starts with understanding a fundamental truth. Being cold isn't your natural state. You weren't born calculating and distant. Look at any child. They laugh without reservation, cry without shame, love without fear. That's our natural state. The coldness, that's learned behavior. And anything that's learned can be unlearned. The path back to warmth starts with this simple recognition. Let me tell you what happens in your brain when you start thawing out. Scientists have discovered that emotional connections literally rewire your neural pathways. When you allow yourself to feel again, you're not just making an emotional choice, you're physically rebuilding your brain. It's like defrosting a freezer. At first it seems impossible, but once you start, the whole process becomes easier and easier. The first step in this transformation is acknowledging the price you've been paying for your coldness. Look around you, really look. See how people interact with you differently now. Notice how conversations stop when you enter the room. Recognize how your relationships have become shallow, mechanical, predictable. This isn't about making you feel guilty. It's about understanding that your strategy for protecting yourself is actually hurting you more than any external force ever could. Here's where most men get stuck. They know they need to change, but they don't know how to start. They're afraid that if they let their guard down, all that pain they've been holding back will come rushing in like a tidal wave. And you know what? They're right. It will come. But here's the truth that nobody tells you. Feeling that pain is the price of admission for feeling everything else too. The joy, the love, the excitement, the wonder. It's all waiting on the other side of that wall. The process of warming up isn't about becoming weak. It's about becoming whole again. Think about steel. When it's cold, it's brittle, it can snap under pressure. But when it's heated, that's when it becomes malleable. That's when it can be shaped into something stronger, more useful, more valuable. The same is true for you. Your coldness isn't protecting you, it's making you brittle. Warmth is what will make you strong. Let me share with you the practical steps to start this transformation. It begins with small actions, tiny cracks in that ice armor you've built. Start with something simple, like really listening when someone speaks to you. Not just waiting for your turn to talk, not planning your response, but truly hearing them. Watch what happens when you give someone your full attention. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. The next step is learning to reconnect with your own emotions. Throughout your day, start asking yourself a simple question. How do I feel right now? Not what do I think about this, but how do I feel? At first, you might only recognize basic emotions: angry, tired, satisfied. But as you practice, you'll start noticing subtler feelings. It's like developing a new sense. And once it starts working, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. One of the most powerful tools in this journey is learning to express appreciation. Not just saying thanks automatically, but really telling people what you value about them. Tell your colleague why their work matters. Let your friend know why their friendship is important to you. Tell your family member what makes them special to you. Yes, it feels awkward at first. Yes, you might fumble the words, but every time you do it, you're breaking down another layer of that ice. Here's something crucial. You need to understand that this isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you truly are. Remember that guy who used to get excited about new possibilities? The one who could laugh until his sides hurt? The one who wasn't afraid to show his enthusiasm? He's still in there. And he's not weak. He's actually stronger than the cold version of you because he's brave enough to be real. The transformation we're talking about requires practice, just like building any other skill. Think of it like training at the gym. You don't go from never working out to lifting heavy weights overnight. You start small, you build gradually, and you celebrate every bit of progress. The same applies here. Every time you choose vulnerability over distance, every time you pick connection over isolation, you're building emotional strength. There's something powerful that happens when you start this journey back to warmth. You begin to notice others who are trapped in their own ice castles. You see that colleague who never joins team lunches, that neighbor who always rushes from car to house, that friend who only talks about work. And because you're on this path yourself, you're uniquely positioned to help them. Your journey becomes a beacon for others. The impact of your transformation extends far beyond your personal life. It ripples out into every interaction, every relationship, every area of your existence. At work, people start bringing you their ideas again. In your family, conversations last longer. With friends, the superficial chatter gives way to real connection. It's like watching color seep back into a black and white world. And the most amazing part? You become a living example that change is possible. Here's something fascinating about human connection. It operates on a principle similar to compound interest. Each genuine interaction, each moment of real connection builds on the previous ones. The more you invest in authentic relationships, the more they grow. And unlike money in the bank, these emotional investments start paying dividends immediately. You don't have to wait years to see the returns. But let's be real about something. This journey isn't always smooth. There will be days when you feel like retreating back into your fortress. Days when vulnerability feels too risky. When the old ways of being cold and distant seem safer. These moments aren't failures. They're part of the process. Just like a muscle gets sore after a good workout, your heart might feel tender as it remembers how to feel fully again. The key is understanding that warmth isn't about being happy all the time. It's about being authentic, being real, being fully human. It's about having the courage to experience the full spectrum of emotions, not just the safe ones. When you're truly warm, you can handle anger without becoming bitter, face disappointment without shutting down, deal with loss without losing yourself. That's real strength. Not the absence of feelings, but the ability to feel deeply and still keep moving forward. Look around at the most successful people in any field, not just financially successful, but those who've built lasting legacies, meaningful relationships, and genuine respect. They all share one common trait: the ability to connect authentically with others. They understand that true power doesn't come from being untouchable. It comes from being relatable, from being human enough that others can see themselves in your story. This journey of rediscovering your warmth isn't just about personal growth. It's about breaking a cycle that's been passed down through generations. Think about it. How many fathers taught their sons to be tough by showing them how to be cold? How many men learned that success meant suppressing their emotions? By choosing a different path, you're not just changing your life, you're potentially changing the lives of everyone who comes after you. The science behind emotional reconnection is fascinating. Research shows that when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, our bodies release oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. This chemical literally helps reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and improve overall health. In other words, when you choose warmth over coldness, you're not just making an emotional choice, you're making a choice that benefits your physical health as well. The most powerful aspect of this transformation is how it changes your perception of strength. True strength isn't about being impervious to pain. It's about being resilient enough to feel everything and still maintain your compassion. It's about having the courage to stay open even after life has given you every reason to close down. This kind of strength doesn't diminish you. It expands you, makes you more capable, more influential, more alive. Consider this. Every meaningful achievement in human history has come from people who were willing to care deeply about something. No one ever changed the world by being detached from it. No one ever inspired others by remaining cold and distant. The very things that make us vulnerable, our hopes, our dreams, our deep care for others, are the same things that give us the power to make a real difference in the world. The transformation we're talking about requires a fundamental shift in how you view vulnerability. Many men see vulnerability as a liability, but it's actually your greatest asset. When you're willing to be real with people, to show them that you're human just like them, something magical happens. People don't just respect you, they trust you. And in today's world, trust is the most valuable currency there is. let's talk about what real strength looks like in practice. It's about being steady without being rigid, being firm without being cold, being strong without being harsh. It's about having the courage to show up fully in every moment, whether you're in the boardroom making million-dollar decisions or at home helping your kid with homework. This kind of authentic presence doesn't make you weaker. It makes you unstoppable. Think about the legacy you want to leave. Do you want to be remembered as the man who never showed weakness, or as the man who showed others how to be strong enough to be real? Do you want to be known as someone who was tough to reach, or as someone who taught others how to reach inside themselves? The choices you make today, and how you handle your emotions and connect with others, are writing the story that others will tell about you. The beautiful thing about choosing warmth over coldness is that it creates a ripple effect. When you show up authentically, you give others permission to do the same. Your children learn that it's okay to feel deeply. Your colleagues see that success doesn't require sacrificing humanity. Your friends remember what real connection feels like. You become a living example that there's another way to be strong, another way to be successful, another way to be a man. This journey isn't just about personal transformation. It's about contributing to a larger change in how we define masculinity. For too long, we've equated manhood with emotional distance. But true masculinity isn't about how well you can suppress your feelings. It's about how well you can integrate all parts of yourself, the strong and the gentle, the tough and the tender, the resilient and the vulnerable. One of the most remarkable things about emotional rebirth is how it transforms not just your inner world, but your outer world as well. Colors seem brighter, music hits differently, food tastes better. It's like your senses have been dulled by that emotional ice, and as it melts away, everything becomes more vivid, more real. This isn't just poetic talk. Science shows that emotional connection enhances our sensory experiences. The decision to embrace warmth over coldness isn't a one-time choice. It's a daily commitment. Every morning when you wake up, you have opportunities to choose connection over isolation, authenticity over armor, growth over protection. Sometimes it's in big moments, like being there for a friend in crisis. Other times it's in small gestures, like really listening to your barista's story or genuinely thanking someone for their help. Your capacity for feeling isn't limited, it's infinite. That's something we often forget. We think that if we feel too much joy, we won't have enough left for later, or if we share too much love, we'll run out. But emotions don't work that way. They're more like muscles. The more you use them, the stronger they get. Each time you choose to feel fully, you expand your capacity for feeling even more. The greatest irony about emotional coldness is that we think it protects us from pain, but it actually magnifies our suffering. When you're cold, every slight feels like an attack. Every setback feels like a failure. Every challenge feels like a crisis. But when you're emotionally warm and resilient, you can handle life's ups and downs with grace. You bend instead of break, flow instead of freeze, grow instead of shrink. This journey back to warmth isn't just about emotion. It's about reclaiming your full humanity. It's about remembering that you're not just a collection of achievements or responsibilities or roles. You're a human being, capable of extraordinary depth, remarkable resilience, and incredible connection. And when you embrace that truth, when you let yourself be fully alive, you become unstoppable. And listen, if you've stayed with me until now, if something in this message has touched your heart or sparked a recognition in your soul, then you know this isn't just another video. This is about transformation. This is about reclaiming who you truly are. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Why? Because this is just the beginning of our journey together.